What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and as you can see in the background, I got Spider-Man Remastered playing in the background, man. So as you guys know, we are a little over a week away from Spider-Man 2 coming out, and this is the most hype I have been for a video game in a long time. I used to get hyped for like 2K and like Call of Duty and things like that, but since Spider-Man came out, Spider-Man Miles Morales came out, like I've just been stunned with the amount of detail, with the amount of like fun that this game provides. And I just wanted to tell you guys what my expectations are for Spider-Man 2. I do have like a little list right here, so I'm kind of reading off the list, and I'm kind of, you know, going off script. But if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more, and let's get into it. Number one, I think that Peter should have more traversal options. So when you play Miles and you know, like, he can do flips and tricks and things like that, Peter can too. But when you do like a nosedive with Miles can do tricks while he's doing a nosedive. I think that Peter should also have those choices as well. I think that because of the fact that Peter is a much more skilled and seasoned Spider-Man, that he should, you know, have style too. Excuse me. I don't think that Peter should just be limited to him doing tricks when he comes off of a web, or really, to be honest with you, I think that's the only time he can do tricks. But I do think that he should have more traversal options, and it kind of like that they are trying to add new moves in terms of like fighting moves, in terms of like animations when you swing. I have heard rumors that you can do like the loop-de-loop around the crane, or you like around a bridge or something like that. We're gonna have to test that out once we start the gameplay. But I think that Peter being the original Spider-Man, I think in this universe, this is like his eighth, ninth year being Spider-Man. So I definitely think that he should show off some of that experience. Number two, I think that Miles should show growth as Spider-Man. So of course, when we finally get to play as him, we're kind of coming fresh off of when he kind of just got his powers. And if you do a trick with Miles and you hold it, he will fall like flat on his face, showing you that he's not as experienced as Pete. But I think that now Miles should have newer moves in terms of his traversal, in terms of his fighting, and we kind of saw that with the gameplay that they showed, and with his like blue Venom charge, which is relatively new to the game, but we know that it's in the Spider-Verse movies. I think that Miles should show improvement in terms of his decision making, in terms of how much more polished he can be, because as you see in the beginning of the Miles game, he kind of makes a boneheaded play, which leads to the release of Rhino and, you know, inmates. So I think his growth is going to be very, very important and essential for Spider-Man 2. Not to mention that he did lose Finn, which did a lot to him, as well as the brother. So, and his dad. So Miles has had a lot of growing up to do in a very short amount of time. I would say within a year, if we're going from Spider-Man Remastered to Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's probably about a year and some change. He's had a lot of growing up to do. But I think that we should definitely be able to see his growth in this game, and I hope that the devs have worked hard on that. Number three, there should be a boss fight between Peter and Miles. Now, I don't know how people feel about this, but I will say personally, as we see, they have shown Peter have the Venom suit for a long period of time, to where, you know, it starts to alter his mood, to where Mary Jane in one scene seems to be hiding from Pete, which is kind of like not normal for her. But it seems as though at that point the suit has taken over, and I think that Miles should be the one to kind of bring Pete back down to earth, you know, kind of like humble him in a way, like, yeah, you got all this power, but remember, you're Pete, you know, like, the suit doesn't control you, you are supposed to control the suit, in which he'll probably like try to take the suit off, because then Miles will finally knock some sense into him. But that's the only thing that I think should happen in terms of Miles and Peter. Like, and granted, it shouldn't be an easy fight. I've heard that the bosses now have like stages, so I think the more that you beat Pete, the stronger he gets, until he gets to the end to where he's now exhausted all of his, you know, energy. And then he finally comes back to the original Pete. Number 4, Venom should be hairy or ganky. Now hear me out. If the devs really want to make this interesting, I think it should be hairy, because Peter is going to want to save him as much as he can. Miles, having him lose Finn, or, you know, he lost Finn, is going to be able to tell Pete, hey, look, you may be a more experienced Spider-Man than me, but I know what it feels like to lose a friend. So I don't want you to fall almost as far as I did, to where my friend almost killed me. You know, I think that would be a nice like growth piece for Miles, but I think that Pete will learn that he still has a lot to learn when it comes to being Spider-Man. And for Ganke, it's really just for fun. It would be different for Ganke to get the suit, and then Miles is like, oh my god, here we go again, I gotta save another friend. So that one is just for fun. Obviously it would not be fun for Miles. Number 5, I have Kraven should experience defeat. In the trailers and the gameplays, we see Kraven as this really strong, powerful hunter. I think at some point he should feel defeat, and I'm not saying he has to fully fall back, but he has to show Spider-Man respect. Now it would be crazy if Kraven is Venom, but I would hope that the devs wouldn't do that. Number 6, Black Cat and Mary Jane should meet. So in Spider-Man Remastered, when you're doing a lot of Black Cat stuff, or when you're doing her like DLC stuff, Black Cat gets brought up by Pete to Mary Jane, but I don't think Pete ever brings up Black Cat. But I think that they should meet, because Black Cat is like Pete's costume crush, and Mary Jane is like the love of his life. So it would just be an interesting dynamic to see what happens with that. Number 7, I have Miles should remember Finn when he fights Martin Lee. Now obviously we see that Miles has like a confrontation with Martin Lee, to where I think he asked him, do you know what you took from me, or something like that. But I think that Miles is probably gonna go off the rails, and he's gonna get to the point where he almost kills Martin Lee, but he should remember Finn and like basically think about, hey, I don't want to be like Finn to where I'll do anything for what I want. I need to remember who I am. I'm Miles, I'm Spider-Man, Spider-Man doesn't kill, etc. Number 8, Green Goblin should appear during, or at least teased at the end of Spider-Man 2. Because in Spider-Man 1, when you're in Norman's like penthouse, there is a helmet that has the like goblin tech, or the glider tech, like kind of engraved inside of the helmet. So I definitely think that Green Goblin should make his debut either in this game or maybe in the next game. They should find some way to tease him, or like get him in there, you know, only because that I know that people can't wait to see Green Goblin in the Spider-Man games, to see how he would look now, the same way that we couldn't wait for Venom. or Doc Ock or Lizard, you know, etc. Number 9, aspects of Ultimate Spider-Man should be present. Ultimate Spider-Man, when it came out years ago, did so great when it came down to the story, when it came down to the emotion. The very first mission that you do in that game, if I remember correctly, is Peter is in like a gray hoodie, no mask, no suit, and he's fighting Venom, who doesn't have like the spider on him, but you're fighting him in like a football field. And we need to feel that kind of emotion when it comes to this game. We need to feel like Peter is having a struggle with himself to the point to where he even forgets who he really is, and then at some point he then comes back to it like, no, I'm him. You feel like he needs to have a I'm him moment. But right now Pete is kind of on his high horse. Even in Spider-Man Remastered, he's kind of in like a cocky phase of his life. Once he gets the suit, he's going to be even more cocky, as we saw in the trailers and in the gameplay. But I think that he needs to be knocked down, maybe like a peg, so he can be your friendly, humble neighborhood Spider-Man. Not saying he hasn't earned his cockiness. He's been doing it for 8-9 years. But I think that a nice I'm him moment would make the game just chef's kiss. You feel what I'm saying? Number 10. Now, this is one of my last points, and it's kind of like a fantasy thought and things like that. But we've been hearing a lot about the Spider-Verse and the possibility of the Spider-Verse being in this game somewhere, right? Even seeing the across the Spider-Verse, you saw Spider-Man from the game pop up for like a split second in one of the scenes, which means that obviously at some point they probably are going to do a Spider-Verse game, or you know, like a Spider-Verse something. To me, this is how I believe it should go, right? I think if you're going to do it, it should be with Gwen. The reason I say Gwen is because let's say at the end of the game you have like a side mission where like you keep trying to find these like boxes. I think that they said that they're like these Spider-Verse boxes in the game. Now, use that, right? I say that once you go to try to find the last box, when you get close to it, a scene pops up, and let's say Pete or Miles, whoever you are using at the moment, goes to grab the box, and then Gwen webs it and then grabs it, and let's say Peter or Miles say, "Who are you?" and Gwen might reply with like, "I'm Gwen," and then she'll turn around. You don't see her full suit. The only thing you see is like her mask and her hood, you know, like being over her head. But she turns around and says, "I'm Gwen," and then it just blacks out, and then you like the rest of the credits play. I feel like that's like the easiest and smartest way to bring the Spider-Verse into it. Now, obviously, there are millions of other ways to do this, but that to me seems like the most fun way, the most movie-like, game-like way, because the way that they did the end credits for Spider-Man Remastered and Miles was, at first they showed Harry having like the suit, but like, you know, like not the suit, like the goo on him, and then Norman put his hand on the glass, and then the goo reached out for Norman, showing that, you know, it's at least a little part of Harry still in there. And then in Miles, Norman basically was like, I want you to let him out. You feel me? Now, I think that Harry really was sick. This is when I kind of get to like my conspiracy theory type stuff. I think Harry really was sick, but somewhere they discovered this symbiotic black suit or black goo, because it's not a suit yet. And they see that it had healing properties that could help Harry get better. However, they lost control of it, and they had to kind of put Harry on ice per se, or put him in the tank. So now they've been waiting all this time for it to heal Harry fully, and it has not. Or if they let him out the tank too soon, the suit could control him, which is why when you hear Harry say that he wants to change the world, and then you hear Venom say that they want to change the world, I think that the Venom symbiote is going to make Harry believe that he's on his side, but he's really not. He really wants to destroy everything. It's kind of like what happened to Doc Ock. Like, he thought he was doing something good, but he really wasn't. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know what your possible theories are. Again, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will be covering Spider-Man 2. We're going to be doing at least 2 videos a week, and I think for stream Sundays, I'm going to be doing like side missions and things like that to, you know, upgrade Peter and Miles. But appreciate you guys, and I'm out. Peace.
That's what you get for harassing people.